Welcome back to the week one review, week two preview. Back by popular demand is Willie Willerstein. Welcome to the program again, Willie.
Thank you. Good to be here. I want to just reiterate that's first place, Willie. Highest score of the week, Willie.
Yeah, destroyed me. We'll get into it, but I thought I had a chance until I did text Cam and Colin, I think, when the Bills game was like in the third quarter and they needed a big comeback. And I was like, this game script is not set up well for me. And then Josh Allen did Josh Allen things and ripped my heart out.
That game was crazy. I turned it off. It was 40-25. It was after the Bills, I think, went 3 and out. And I was like, it was good. It wasn't good. It was a pretty depressing week between the Gators, the Giants, fantasy. But then I woke up Monday morning and holy crap. It was a great morning. It was a great morning. Like I said, I ran back the post-draft podcast just to watch it again. And I was in bed and my girlfriend was like, who is that person? Like, does that person have like personal hatred towards you? What did you do to them? So
Well, yeah, I appreciate you also getting the viewership numbers up on the post draft podcast. We're supported by our fans and by our views, so that means a lot that you would watch it twice. That means we made twice the amount of money on last week's podcast. So thank you.
I've been showing it around town to everybody. I was like,
Thank
you got to see what this guy has had to say about me.
Thank you. Please.
I'm not even gonna lie. Last time I checked, we're at like 30 plus views. So
wow,
whoever's watching is really digging our content.
Yeah,
Dude,
don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Put your comments down below. We really appreciate it.
Hit that bell, baby.
Yep.
Well, let's dive right into recapping the week that was. We talked a little bit about this matchup. I was a little frustrated. CD had Butterfingers there towards the end of the game. Could have used a little bit more out of him. But overall, I mean, my wide receiver crew did what I was hoping they would do. I beat the median, so you can't complain too much about that, despite my running backs not really helping out. But again, I feel like every time I play Willie, Josh Allen is liable to go off for double his projection, and that basically happened again this week. 38 was going to be hard to overcome, even though you didn't really have great performances other than Keon Coleman, which obviously speaks to Josh Allen as well. But just a solid week, and when Willie's Billies are firing on all cylinders, it's going to be a tough out.
Yeah, on my side of things, I didn't really feel good, throughout most of the day Sunday. But, you put up a ton of points too. So just not like Josh Allen's going to score nearly 40 points every week. I wouldn't feel too bad about that, Al.
Thank you. That means a lot. I think we all picked against you on last week's podcast, so that was probably some bulletin board material for your boys as well. I would have liked on College Game Day, I would have liked someone to have your logo so that you guys didn't have that screenshot, but oh well.
I'm used to it at this point, boys, to be honest. It's always Shade Willie.
Let's talk about the Rashees Warrants against Remember the Joshes, two new team names. Two teams that came into the season with some question marks on the roster, but we overall liked the way that both of these guys drafted. I think Jason, for me, might have been the surprise of week one. We'll see. It was also interesting to me to see that Caleb Williams put up 24 points because he looked terrible when you were just watching him play football. Mm-hmm. And there was a video going around of like the all 22 view of some of his throws, and he's just missing guys by like 5 yards on some throws. But he had a great fantasy performance, basically went toe to toe with Herbert, who had maybe the game of his career. And Derrick Henry almost won the game single-handedly for the Ravens. So a strong performance from Jason right out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean it's always risky starting rookies, let alone rookies that might not even be like the RB1. And he's starting Samson right out of the gate. It didn't make a difference really. He won by 24, I guess. But Jason's a good manager. One of these years, he's gonna break through that playoff hurdle and shock some people. Because he's always got a pretty nice team, and managerial decisions like that win you games. Starting the guys who either you're trusting yourself or others wouldn't necessarily go with. And I want to come back to that point later when we talk about a few other things. Because Jason's a good example of maybe not starting guys who others or maybe starting guys who others maybe wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Samson start. I'm curious about how Jason's team is going to look in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks when Quinshon kind of gets going and with the role that Samson has in that offense. But I mean, when Derrick Henry's putting up 29 points at damn near 50 years old, um, I it, I can't believe what I'm seeing whenever he's now that he's better than he was last year, which is crazy. Um, and also, Josh usually gets off to a pretty hot start in the regular season, and to see him kind of stumble out the gate a little bit, still got above the median, but um, usually we'll see him in the top three seeds come week 5 or week 6. I'm curious to see if that trend continues this year, if it's different.
Derrick Henry, absolute beast. Just want to say that.
The king.
Yeah, I
Completely
mean,
agree.
crazy how he took over that game in the first 3 quarters. I think obviously the Brees Hall was a undervalued player and a
Mhm.
really good pick. I was kind of eyeing him a little bit, and to Cam's point as well, always expect a fight out of Josh. Kind of underperformed. I'm nervous to face him in week 2.
Next, we had low scoring pillow fight. One of 2 low scoring pillow fights this week. Johnny edges out Troy. I know Troy was disappointed in his team's performance other than Ibuka, the only one who outperformed his projection here. Johnny's been hit by the injury bug again. Xavier Worthy out for the foreseeable future, it seems like. Well, he's really holding on to hope that McCaffrey can salvage the 49ers offense and stay healthy. And we'll see what that offense looks like without Brock Purdy. I mean, I assume teams are going to stack the box and make Mac Jones beat them, which doesn't seem like a great plan for the Niners. So, yeah, Johnny gets the win, but it's going to be tough sledding for a little bit, I think, for both of these squads, unless Troy's rookies come into form, which that was sort of the theme of the preseason podcast was he's going to live by the rookie, die by the rookie. And this week it was death.
Yeah, I think Troy's fine. Um, everyone's gonna have an off week, and of course, it happens to be week 1. That doesn't feel good going into the season. Um, but he made a note about how I kind of backtracked on my initial assessment of his bench. I'm going back again. I don't like his bench. I mean, week 1 says it all. Not much there. But as far as his home run hitters, his rookies, his starting lineup, I think he'll be okay. It's a down week. Some of these offenses are still gearing up, and usually we're saying that offenses are ahead of defenses going into an NFL season. I think after seeing week 1, I would say the opposite. I think defenses might be ahead of offenses right away, and that's an interesting. I think that's interesting because usually it's the offenses are firing. They know what they're going for. They have an agenda per se, going into week 1, and it didn't look like that for a lot of offenses.
That's
So
why I
so
took that Cowboys Eagles under, baby. But if
there
you
you
know your
go.
ball, you know ball, Colin.
Hey,
Always take the under week 1.
hey, should we add a betting segment? And Willie's our betting extraordinaire.
There you
Willie's
go.
wagers.
Odds
Willie's
subject to
wagers.
change. We
If
have
you
to say
want to
odds
find
subject
another
to
way
change.
for yourself to be wrong, sure.
Oh my
Um,
God.
I'll just add a quick point here. I know all of us were kind of raving about Troy's roster after the draft, some sexy rookie picks. But Nick, you kind of hit on the head, right? Like it's going to take some time for these rookies to kind of get into form. Offenses are slow, to Colin's point. I'm actually more concerned about Johnny's roster than I am about Troy's. McCaffrey, obviously, with that calf lingering issue before week 1, questions around that. Dolphins offense looks horrible outside of the injury to Achan, right? Obviously, word he's out. Mike Evans might not be the receiver to own in that offense. Stephon Diggs kind of underperformed. Like the bright spot in his offense was a guy who didn't even know he was going to be the wide receiver 1 on his team till this past week, and Michael Pittman. I mean, Bryce Young was horrible. Joe Mixon probably won't play till week 10 or later. Like have some concerns, even though Johnny got the win here about, the outlook for his team.
Worthy's a dagger for sure. I had him in a 10 touchdown parlay. ChatGPT cooked up for me, and god damn it! It ruined my weekend on a Friday night. So that's going to be tough to
touchdown
recover
parlay.
from.
Are you insane, bro?
Bro, 10 touchdown parlay, put down like me and my coworker put down $10, $20 each to win like 125,000. So are you insane, bro?
Oh, but like,
Dude, you
no,
can't
I
pick 10
just
guys to score a touchdown in all the games. We'll probably do 5 this week, but it's fun, We were playing Powerball. We were getting pools going. My office was literally a sports book Thursday morning.
no.
Um,
Look, I'm trying to break into that scene of parlays, but 10 touchdowns seems a little far fetched. I would love for one of these to hit, but I've found no success. Even picking a 3 touchdown parlay is
yeah.
tough. So 10 is just like out of this world to me if you're really trying to like win
Yeah,
some
well,
money
we
and not
bought
just throw
Powerball
out.
tickets too, so it was kind of one of those things. But I feel you. I'm usually not a crazy parlay guy, but it's kind
Yeah.
of fun, Throw $5
Gotta
Yeah.
get play here and there.
Totally.
To that point, though, with Xavier Worthy, yeah, he's in trouble because you're looking at his roster in terms of receivers. I think Mike Evans is certainly over the hill. Stephon Diggs, I just don't know. And it has less to do with Stephon, honestly, than it does have to do with like Drake May and the whole Patriots team themselves. So he's going to have to make up some ground. Yeah.
He's going to need insane volume to really put up big numbers.
Yep.
And I think they have enough.
Is great, but
Speaking of betting, by the way, one of my buddies won 10,000 playing blackjack on the DraftKings app last week, and he told me he's still down lifetime on the app.
That's crazy. That's wild. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I didn't either because I don't bet, but I just live vicariously through my friends.
It's a smart way to do it.
Team AI showed that it has some muscle to flex this season. We thought this would be a strong team. It was obviously picked with the help of the computers, and Eric was just defenseless. This was an absolute beatdown, 50+ points. What were your all thoughts on this beatdown?
Eric's team's kind of like Troy's. Like I feel like it's going to be okay. Just a down week 1. He's got plenty of firepower. He's got key guys in their offenses that will show up throughout a season. So just a down week, pretty rough bench though. It's not looking like he's got a lot of options, but as far as the starting lineup goes, though, I believe in a lot of those guys. He might need to figure out his tight end room because I think Kelsey's one of these guys who's not going to have a great year, and then Ferguson is going to be a middling tight end at best. But I would say congrats or props to Trevor, but we know it's AI, so I don't know if it was ChatGPT, I don't know if it was Perplexity or Grok, whichever one he went with, or it's the one that he created. Then I'll give him props. But 144 out of week 1, well done. Didn't expect that out of Mahomes for a good Chargers defense. So just a dominant win. But I'm not worried about Eric's team yet.
Yeah. I will say, just to point out the obvious, right? Like he got a combined under 14 points, under 13 points really from his top 3 receivers and AJT and Devontae, and he still put up 140. I just think that in this league, like the real winners, the guys who end up doing really well at the end of the playoffs, is like you got to have a strong flex. And ETN looks like that dude this year in the flex. That's a great flex pick. I don't think Zay Flowers is going to drop 140 in the tutty every single week, but if you're getting that kind of production out of Zay Flowers as your wide receiver 4, like you're going to do some pretty damn good things. So, loving Trevor's team, even when his top 3 receivers have a bad week, like he's still balling. So, props to Trevor.
Right, he's got Quentin Johnson on his bench, so he should be starting him week
Right.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you, Cam, on the Zay Flowers thing. Agreed with you with everything else, but he's got a great team. I do think Zay Flowers is going to take another step this year. I think he was in the Pro Bowl last year. I think he's a guy that Lamar really likes. I think he's sort of a locker room guy, if you will. They really missed him in that playoff game. And the Ravens had that game in hand on Monday night, and a lot of it had to do with Zay Flowers. And then, holy shit, the Broncos defense was 6 sacks. I mean, that's got to be – he's got to feel good about drafting that defense as well. So, and I don't think that's just – I can't just be that Tennessee's that bad. I hope Tennessee's not that bad. I would feel really bad for Cam Ward. But, yeah, Broncos D, good pick.
Well, we know that the Titans coach does not know what a catch is. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he didn't know to challenge that an elbow down counts as a catch, which is a tough look.
I saw that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I can't even blame him at this point.
Who even knows who the Titans coach is?
He probably won't be. Brian Callahan won't be there for much longer if he keeps this up.
Ryan Callahan. Who the fuck is that?
Speaking of pillow fights, our second one of the week features not lasting points. Colin, you want to defend yourself to
Barely.
the man who just got done with a karaoke performance and took the dub this week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to verbally defend myself. It's in my name for my Zoom meeting here. It's just not lasting points, so I feel good about that. You know, I don't feel like any of my guys really had terrible games. You know, my low point was Evan Ingram. He was hurt. He got hurt. I guess also Kenneth Walker. But everyone else is, you know, I guess they're low points because they're single digits, but it's not like they were complete goose eggs. So I feel okay. You know, 90 points is not great. I think I'm okay. I like my bench compared to some other benches that we've already discussed. You know, he outpaced me by only 13 points. If I had started a rookie, which I wouldn't have done on week one like that, especially with the confusing backfield in Washington, I get the win. But again, I wouldn't have done that. Same with Charbonnet. He's been the RB2 the past couple years behind Kenneth Walker, so I'm not starting him over Kenneth Walker. So I'll learn from my mistakes. Justin Fields, I mean, my Drake May is my guy, so I was going to start him as well. I wasn't going to, you know, go with Fields week one. So again, I'm going to learn from my mistakes here. I think I can easily bounce back. A lot of teams had down week ones, and I was affected pretty heavily. But you know, long season, we move. Well done, Alex. He just had a few guys that had maybe a touchdown or more, you know, a touchdown or two more than me. A guy that I believe in, Javonte Williams, had a really good game on the first game of the season. So that one hurts because I probably could have taken him at one point in the draft, but didn't. I got him in other leagues. So it is what it is. And we move on. Again, not lasting points. That's where my positivity lies.
Dude, I gotta commend you, man, on this positive twist you're putting on things. You know, you said like you're okay. That's a choice of words. You gotta be super down in the dumps. I got something that might make you feel a little better though, because I think I might owe you something. So let me just get it. I think it's in my pocket. Yeah, here it is. So I got this check for you. Maybe this will make you feel better. So I know it's a little bit past the first of the month, but just wanted you to make sure I got this check to you, buddy, for rent in your head.
In Colin's head.
So, yeah, there's my monthly rent check. Let me know. Remind me of next month, and we'll check in.
That's crazy.
I have no words. I have no
Everybody
words.
write down,
Not even
everybody
like
write
an
down the
apology?
account number. Everybody write down the account number and routing number.
Oh, man, don't do that. Don't put that on YouTube.
That's what it is.
Damn.
No,
Okay,
not an
Willie-
apology. Definitely
I
not
got
an
a question
apology.
for you.
Definitely
I got a
not.
question for you
Apology?
about Colin's team. My question for you, Willie, about Colin's team is on the pro side. Okay, his bench had 65 points. Right, that's a lot of points left on the bench, and that led to him being the least efficient manager. And he only got 77% of the points that he could have had he started the right lineup. On the con side, even if he started his best lineup, that only would have been 115 points, which probably doesn't get it done most weeks. So which do you think is of those sort of factors is going to impact his season the most? Do you think it's going to be his team's fine when he starts the right guys, or do you think it's going to be there's not enough firepower there to be a contender?
No, I think his team is very lacking. I mean, we could go all. I mean, I knew it in round 7 of the draft when he drafted Travis Hunter. I was so happy. I was like, Colin's team is going to suck, and he's going to be so mad at me about it. I did not expect the crash out on the podcast, though. But, dude, I mean, Drake May, really, bro? Are you serious? You're going to draft Drake May? And then, I'm sorry, I got news for you. You're starting Justin Fields next week. They're going to get absolutely boat raced by the Buffalo Bills, and that is going to be the best game that your boy Justin Fields is going to have all year. He will never get close to 30 points again.
Okay.
You know, I just don't see much here. Smith, you got Smith Najigba. He's great. Evan Ingram, dude. You started Evan Ingram in 2025 as your tight end. Name me 1 week Evan Ingram has scored over 10 points in fantasy in the last 5 years. He's a scrub.
Okay, right there. Week 6 last year. Boom. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick.
And how many other times? Was that his only time the whole season?
2. He had 2. Week 6 and week 8.
Exactly. He's a bum. I just really don't know where you get off talking about my team the way you talked about my team when I think I drafted my ass off and I should get a round of applause for somebody who's constantly in the playoffs, constantly,
in the finals,
fighting and competing for a championship in the championship round. And guess what? Someone who doesn't do what you do and goes on X and Twitter and reads all the experts and follows all their advice to the T. I'm sorry, I think outside of the box and I try to go draft and I go get my guy. And I know you got a problem with that because you're some sort of let me do exactly what the expert on X tell me. But buddy, good luck staying under 500 this season.
I have no comments after that. I think that was.
Colin, I want to double click on one thing you mentioned last week was Dante. Speaking of the experts and reading things, you mentioned that Dante Thornton was a draft pick of yours based on some player comps. Now it's only week 1 and he's a rookie. He got 4 targets, and caught 2 of them for 45 yards. How do you feel? Is it stock up, stock down, or stock neutral on Dante Thornton?
Yeah, pretty neutral. That's one of those offenses they got to figure it out. New quarterback, rookie running back, heavy hitter tight end, but he's now could be hurt. So we'll see. I think he's still the wide receiver 2. I guess it's Trey Tucker, so he's wide receiver 3. I think he'll grow into that offense. He's a beast, so I believe in him. But look, I gotta respond to Willie one way or another. And look, you're absolutely right.
Let's go. Give the people
my back's up against the wall.
Skip.
My back is up against the wall. I can't be talking my shit if I'm scoring less than 100 points and he's scoring 150. So well done. Way to come in with the receipts. Way to hit me right where it hurts. I'm gonna lay low this week. And maybe that doesn't speak volume, or maybe that speaks volumes about talking my shit when you're not on the pod. So come next week when I outscore you by maybe 30 or 50, I'll come back with the
heat. Hey, clip that for the mixtape.
Just maybe though. But hey, look, well done. I can't really. I'm not gonna talk the talk if I can't walk the walk, and I didn't walk shit. Except I got walked.
You got
dog walk last week. So I'll admit it. I'll be the first to admit it. And you won't hear a peep out of me because Willie showed up week 1. And if he's doing this all season, well, then he's a championship contender and none of us picked him. So Willie, that's all I got.
Thank you, Skip. I've been waiting 30 minutes in this podcast for that. I wish we led with it, but thank you for stepping to me like a man and owning your words. And it's all fun and games, and I love you, bro. And let's have some fun this season.
Colin,
I love you too. Until next week, though.
Let's go! I love it, bro. Don't ever change. Keep that energy.
I also just want to say, I think you're missing an opportunity, Colin, if you bench Drake May, because if you put Zach Charbonnet right underneath him, you would have Champagne Poppy and Chardonnay right next to one another. And I just like that from a lineup standpoint,
That's
so
good, Juju.
Consider that.
Yeah.
Last but not least,
because I want to talk about start and sit in a little bit.
Yes. Not last but not least, Quan for the Mooney, unfortunately, has an 0-2 week at the hands of Josh Blue, my neighbors. Cam, would you like to give us your thoughts here
Such a
on
good
a
name.
performance that was led by Jalen Yurts?
I mean, we came out and did exactly what we wanted to do. You know, we need to hit that 130 number every week. Most weeks it'll get you a dub. Some weeks it won't. This week it did. Survive the Lamar Jackson Monday night thrashing. And neighbors didn't do exactly what I wanted them to do. That offense looks like it's gonna take some work to kind of get going, whether it's with Russ or Dart. Did not love George Pickens' first outing as a Cowboy, but really excited to see Jalen Warren kind of picking up the slack in Pittsburgh. And this was another week that without another random streaming kicker or defense, I might lose this game. So really on the back of Kaimi Fairbairn and the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out your pickup of the Rams defense. I think that was a huge acquisition, and they should have another big outing again against Tennessee this week. So I'm a big defense streamer myself, and when I saw that you acquired them, I looked at their schedule and thought that's a pretty good pickup there, and it looks like it's going to be a nice 2-week run. I assume you probably will not play them against Philly would be my bet, but hey, I mean, getting 2 weeks out of your defense to start the season is always good. So nice performance. Any concern with Montgomery and the Lions offense?
I am a little nervous after that. I've seen a bunch of stuff on X about how the Packers defense is just transcendent this year and they might be the best defense in the league. But
Tell
I think
me more.
The Packers defense was good. I don't think that Micah Parsons really played a huge role in David Montgomery's game, to be honest. I think that offense has got a lot of shit to figure out. I mean, nobody played well. Gibbs played poorly. Amon-Ra played poorly. Jameson Williams played poorly. Laporta played okay for a tight end, but there's a lot of issues in that offense to kind of figure out now that their OC is gone. So I don't know. I know we talked about it on the drafts pod, but didn't love that pick. I don't hate it right now. I think 6.5 is probably his floor, but his ceiling is certainly capped after Ben Johnson left.
Yeah, shout out Elon Musk again, because with my X research, I saw that Jared Goff is like 0-19-1 with offensive coordinators that are not Sean McVay and or Ben Johnson. So I don't think the Lions are going to be anywhere near what they were last year. And it's going to take a lot of Dan Campbell juice for them to even reach that level. And I just don't see it this year. So, and they have a lot of weapons. They have everything they could need to be successful. But if you don't have the guy who's pulling the strings there that knows how to pull the strings and that quarterback whisperer, elite play calling ability, well then it won't click. And I see that for the Lions this year, which sucks. I kind of root for the Lions. I'm not a fan. I'm not saying anything like that, but like I like their story, the worst NFL franchise, essentially, and them being good in recent times is exciting, and I love to see stuff like that. Except if it's the Giants, but the Lions, I don't see it for them this year.
Yeah, to your point, Colin, where do you land on like Dan Campbell needing Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson needing Dan Campbell and them sort of being like a perfect couple and not as good individually?
Well, the Chicago Bears will be the perfect test for that. If Ben Johnson can turn around the Chicago Bears, well, then he's legit.
I'll tell you what, he got out coached Monday night. Coaching lost that game and he blew it.
Yeah.
He also
Dan
got
Campbell
outcompeted, and he got outcompeted by basically a redshirt rookie in JJ McCarthy. Boy, I don't know anything about this kid. I mean, he obviously lost. Didn't he lose a national championship and then win a national championship?
I know he
I think he only
won.
played in one.
He lost
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
semis to TCU. They got boat
Yeah.
raced.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
All right.
throws
So
the
he's
shit
won
out
one.
of the ball. He throws like 104-mile fastball.
Well, that dude, it's seemingly he's one of these gamer type guys, and if your quarterback is a gamer like that, well, then I'm gonna start believing in him. And McCarthy or what's his name? The Vikings head coach. Is it McCarthy?
Oh,
McDonald?
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. There we go.
O'Connell. I'm thinking of McCarthy, the quarterback. He seems like a smart head coach, so I think that's a good like duo, like competitive quarterback that'll just run his face through a wall, and then a
Both
head coach
young.
that's
Yeah.
right, level-headed and will
Dude, the Vikings are sick.
game
They
plan
won
well.
14 games last year with Kirk Cousins. All they're doing is replacing
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold,
Darnold, yeah.
I'm also going to give Rob the award for injury not on your team that's going to impact your team the most, and I think that's Brock Purdy and George Kittle. I think the combo of those is really bad for Ricky Pearsall. I think defenses are probably just going to double Pearsall. We talked about them loading the box and making Mac Jones beat them and taking away McCaffrey. And then in the passing game, I think Pearsall is going to get a lot of attention. He's certainly going to draw the CB1 for whatever team they're playing. I don't believe in Mac Jones throwing in the football. So as long as Purdy is out and as long as Kittle is out, I think that's really going to hurt Ricky Pearsall, who I thought was going to have a great season, being like the clear target leader in that offense and with a quarterback that can deliver the football to him. So that sucks. I mean, you hate when your own player gets injured, but you also hate when like just circumstances outside of your team impact your team. And I think 12.8 might be Ricky Pearsall's best game of the year until Brock Purdy and George Kittle are both healthy. We'll see, but
yeah, I think Rob is going to be leaning a lot on his team namesake. Mooney has got to step into that wide receiver room for him, and he'll be okay. But if Mooney isn't that guy, and Penix can't get him the ball and make those plays, Rob's going to be in trouble.
Rob's gonna win some games due to Lamar Jackson and Saquon Barkley alone. He's gonna sneak up on somebody, and just like Josh Allen had 40 points, he's got two guys that can get you 40 points. So don't be surprised if he upsets a few of us here.
Totally. Colin, I know you had some segments you wanted to talk through. Do you want to kick some of those off?
Yeah, well, real quick, none of us really commented on y'all's matchup between Nick and Willie. Cam and I didn't really mention anything. I don't know if we weren't awake yet or something. But there's always one team that will beat the median, but then still lose to the number one scoring leader, and that's tough. Especially coming week one, you're just like you're elated that you got 120, which is not outstanding, but it's a great performance, and then you lose by 30. So I think both these teams are fine. I already talked up Willie, so we know where Willie's at. Having two of the highest scoring people in the league with Josh Allen, even just him alone, having him is 30 to 40, within 30 to 40, almost given every week. But Nick, your team, not an outstanding performance, but losing in week one after solid showing, I think you'll be okay. So no need to overreact, I guess, is what I'm saying for Nick's team. And Willie, of course, you're gonna live it up for about a couple more days, just a couple more days.
So, Colin, I know you expressed some major concerns about my team. Can you maybe go into detail on one or two players that you thought were bad picks, bad draft picks? I'm just curious.
Well, I was always fading Tyreek Hill, not only because of the on the field Dolphins, absolute no hope Dolphins, but apparently there's a report that came out an hour ago that he's now under NFL investigation.
I got that yesterday. And and his team already came out and said it's like extortion money grab. The news I got about him is that the Steelers are trying to get him. But I do agree with you, and I didn't love that pick. I didn't love that pick. It was kind of like I had to take him, and I forget where it was in the situation, but totally didn't love that pick. So I feel you on that, but he's not. I mean, he's not. We can't write Tyreek Hill off. Are we there yet?
No, totally. Right. No, I'm just going down. Someone I wouldn't have wanted was Tyreek Hill. You not only have two Bills receivers, you have two Ravens receivers. So something that I, again, wouldn't do. I try not to take
the two best teams in football with the two best quarterbacks in football? Is that what you're saying? Something that you wouldn't do? You would rather get Patriots and Drake May? Where's your argument there, bro?
No,
My
remember
argument
he
is
takes
that
individual defensive players. We've covered
Yeah,
this.
yeah. You want more cornerbacks?
look, Nick's making all my points for me, and I appreciate it. No, I mean the Ravens really don't throw that much, and Hopkins is over the hump, and Bateman is who is that guy? So that's all I have to say about the Ravens receivers. Shakir, I don't think he'll ever break top 20 receiver. He might be a volume guy, he might be the check down possession guy, but like he doesn't have a lot of upside. And Coleman, I'm just salty about Coleman. I want Coleman. That dude is the man. Is
Him.
that dude is him. I think he could be top 10 receiver outside fantasy. I think he is the talent level of a top 10, maybe top 5 receiver. Top 5's pushing it because there's some insane athletes at the receiver position in the NFL right now. But Coleman is close to that. 6'4, 215, not a ton of speed, but will moss every single cornerback in the league. I'm salty that you have Coleman and especially where you
I
took
got
him.
him late. I mean, I got him late. He was always on my list. But it's hard to say like top 5, top 10. You got to put these wide receivers are like sports cars. You got to put them in classes, like your Lamborghinis, your Mercedes, right? Like you got your Jerry, you got your Justin Jeffersons, your Jamar Chases. Coleman is not there yet. He didn't prove it last year. I will say he does look like he got a lot of targets the other night, so I'm really happy about that. But I was a little surprised he fell as far as he did. I've always liked him, but he wasn't like a sure thing home run.
No, I know, and I was 2 picks after you, and that's where I was going to take him. So I don't know if he necessarily fell or you took him late, but you got him ahead of me. And you're right, he's not a Justin Jefferson, he's not CeeDee Lamb, he's not in that class, Jamar Chase, but he might be in the T. Higgins class.
Yep.
He might
What
be,
about
you know,
I think my biggest gamble of the draft was Genty. I had no idea how this guy was going to turn out. He got a touchdown. I'm happy, but I couldn't believe Aaron Jones fell to me when he did. I mean, Aaron Jones is an RB1, and he was so down on every projection, on every mock draft. And sure enough, he had a touchdown.
Jones is trash. Aaron Jones is washed. I don't know if you watched the same game I did, but no, he ran the ball 8 times for 23 yards.
Go to his stats from last year.
My farts go 8 times for 23 yards.
Go to his stats from last year.
Yeah, last year is last year.
Look at his just.
He was in his 20s last year.
Yeah, exactly. He's collecting.
Are you a Packers fan? Are you a Packers fan?
Yeah, I sure am.
Here
we go, boys. I thought we were talking fantasy.
Well, we are. We are.
Wait, this is perfect. This actually is a good segue into what I wanted to talk about. And those are guys that you will never take on your team. Everyone knows that I will never have Daniel Jones on my team for a number of different reasons. 1, he's a former Giant. 2, I don't believe he's a good quarterback. 3, I don't think he's a good football player. He will never be on my team. I don't care if you.
Do you say he's trash 1 and 3? He's not good at football.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Doubling down.
3 was number 1 was about him playing quarterback. Number 3 was more about him playing cornerback. If I heard you correctly.
Oh yeah. Number 4 is he doesn't play defensive back.
Correct. He's not going to score any pick sixes.
So
he'll throw a ton.
So some more examples. 2 guys that I will never have these guys on my team, and they happen to have the same first name, Michael Pittman and Michael Wilson. I don't believe in them. I know Michael Pittman had a good game this game, or week 1. I will never draft them. I will never trade for them. I don't believe in them. They are just guys that I just
said the same thing about me last week, bro.
I can't fathom having them on my team. So I want to hear some examples for you guys that you guys just will absolutely fade all day long. You will refuse to draft them. You never will ever want them on your team.
One that comes to mind for me is Christian McCaffrey, just because of the injury history. And like, obviously, most years or every year, I think you basically have to spend a 1st-round pick on him. And I try to get a guy, I mean, you never know, but I try to get a guy that doesn't have like a big injury history, because it's devastating to your fantasy team if your 1st-round pick is out. And so I won't touch him unless he's somehow like there in the 4th round. which might be a few more years before he's at that level, I'm not touching Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's Nick's point. Like, I don't know if there's anybody that I would never draft because everyone has a price, and if somebody's fallen to the 10th round, I'm like, I can't not take this guy in the 10th round. I will say that there are some guys who I'm fading this year, and in the spirit of the question, it's not that I'll never draft these guys. I'm pretty sure I have at some point, but I just don't like them this year, and unfortunately, two of them happen to be on Willie's team. We already talked about Tyreek, so we don't need to dive into that too much. The other one that I don't really like this year, just because I really don't know what's going on in the backfield, is Pacheco. I don't know what's happening in Kansas City. I was not super stoked about that pick, and he's in a contract year, kind of an prove it deal right now. And week one wasn't super inspiring for me. Not that I would never draft him, but at the right value, I would take him. But I'm just not super inspired by what's going on in that whole organization right now, to be honest. Right, like not good energy after that Chargers game, but not super high in Pacheco. And then the other one is the other wide receiver in Miami is Jalen Waddle. Pretty much everybody, I'm out on everybody on that offense with the exception of Devon Achane if he's fully healthy. But everybody in that offense right now just seems anemic, and I'm out on Tyreek, Waddle, and Pacheco.
One other one for me was Aaron Jones. I know we talked about that, so I won't spend a lot of time on it. But in all seriousness, I mean, like I was reading stuff in the preseason about like his coaches saying he could lead that Jordan Mason could lead the league in touchdowns, and that it was going to be more of like a 1A, 1B, and they weren't even sure who the 1A was and stuff. So just the uncertainty, to your point about Pacheco, the uncertainty in the backfield led me to draft Jordan Mason because I felt like he was a much better value. And I mean, in week one, Jordan Mason looked like the better runner. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets more opportunities going forward. So I stay away from Aaron Jones for that reason.
So to Cam's point, I mean, same about Pacheco is the same thing with Tyreek. Like, I didn't love the pick myself either. You guys know we're in a 12-team league with 19 players, right? Like, after the first few rounds, it's like hard. It's really hard to make picks, which I love. But you gotta make your picks, and then it's all about the value of your pick. Which I do think I got with Aaron Jones. And Nick, to respond to your point, I think you're right. Jordan Mason probably is a better runner, but Aaron Jones is consistently putting up over 10, 12, 13 points a week. When you do that every single week, there's value there, and it's proven. Jordan Mason's hot and cold, new team. I just and I've gotten criticism in other drafts about your team is washed. You have a bunch of washed veterans. I like guys who prove that they score fantasy points consistently. In terms of guys that I would want to stay away from, there was a lot, especially in this draft. Like I said, I think there was a lot of overvalued players this year in general. I'm in 3 leagues. I did a few mock drafts, nothing crazy, but I think the whole first round is like a lot of overrated guys, in my opinion. Let's look at Jamar Chase, the number 1 overall on everyone's draft board, and he can't even get you 10 points. But one guy in particular, and I saved this because we were going over Troy's game, and I wanted to mention something there. But one guy that I stay away from purposely was Nico Collins. He's one of the most talented wide receivers in the league. Don't get me wrong. I think you'll be lucky if he plays 10 games this year, because that's just how it is. And you don't see teams going to the championship in their fantasy league as Nico as their guy. You got to have the guys that are consistently putting up points week to week.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. Consistency is key. I was fading Nico Collins as well. I don't like the injury history there, but would Drake May be one of these guys? What's your beef with Drake May, my guy?
He's just not the guy. I mean, he's gonna be the next Daniel Jones of our generation. To be honest, I don't think the Patriots are good.
As in fantasy QB1? Is that what you mean?
Just like he's not it. Like, when like, just like I know, like, Justin Fields is not it. Like, it's not him. He's not one of the guys. Like, And I'm also super high on quarterbacks. Obviously, Josh Allen, but like I think having one of the top 3 quarterbacks is like really important in fantasy because after those 3-4 guys, they fall off a cliff. I mean, so
As far as consistency, right? Like I hear what you're saying with the consistency thing.
not even just consistency, just explosiveness and ability to score a shitload of points. I mean, they got to be on a good team, and 2, they got to be super talented. And I think we all know maybe 4, 5 super talented quarterbacks in this league, and I think it's really important to have one of them on your fantasy team. And I feel the same way, about tight ends and defense. I think it's worth it in this 12-team league with 19 players on your team to go and reach on a defense and a tight end and a quarterback early.
I'm loving the insight from
Love it,
Willie.
dude.
I'm loving this.
It's
This
working
is
for him. It's working.
pure
for him.
gold content. I know we have a few. Obviously, we're running low on time here. My next point was we can go through the matchups a little bit more involved than last week per se. But my next talking point that I wanted to get through was kind of a start sit segment. Who you guys think you would start or sit on someone else's team? You can talk about your team if you want, but like take some time to maybe go through some other teams and see who they're maybe they haven't set their lineups yet. But my overarching theme, the bigger picture theme is, and you can relate this to your team more so, but then we're answering the question for other teams, is like, are you picking the hot hand going into week 2, or are you picking the guy that may be a better value? So with a good the first example that I can come up with at this moment, I have a few, but if you look at Alex's team, he's got Trey McBride and TJ Hawkinson in his starting lineup right now. The number 2 tight end is Dalton Kincaid. Maybe this isn't the best example, but he's benching Dalton Kincaid, I think he's number 2 tight end for those guys who are bigger names, maybe bigger values, and so he's not feeding the hot hand. He's going with maybe the bigger names. What do you guys think? Are you guys going with the hot hand, the guy who had a better week in week 1, or are you sticking with a higher value guy? Cam, I know you have George Pickens. I don't know what your bench looks like, but are you gonna trust in George Pickens, or are you gonna maybe pick a guy who's on your bench that had a hotter week last week?
There isn't really a guy in my bench who had a hotter week last week, and that's saying a lot because George Pickens had like 6 points or less. I'm really bummed that Josh Downs kind of sputtered out of the gate. I have him in literally every league that I can. Didn't really play super hot. They had a lot of 2 tight end sets, a lot of tall personnel in Indy this past weekend. So Tyler Warren played well, but anytime you're having 2 tight ends, like Josh Downs is not going to be your outside X or the Z. He's a slot guy, so he just didn't get a lot of looks. I'm starting Pickens again. I think like Dak played well, even though his points don't really reflect that. He had a good game. CeeDee Lamb had a couple big drops. He was in George Pickens was doing George Pickens things with that offensive pass interference or unnecessary roughness or whatever. But I believe in that offense. I think there's a lot of good energy around Dallas, even though they lost to Philly. So I'm starting Pickens. He's pretty much locked in flex guy on my team.
Okay. And to give you guys some more time to maybe find an example here, my team, I have obviously I have Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. Charbonnet outshined. I mean, literally got out snapped and scored the touchdown as the RB2. So I'm in a bit of a situation there, let alone the fact that I got that rookie build Krosky Merritt. So like I'm in a situation where I have no idea who I'm starting going into week 2. And I'm going to throw in a weird comparison here. In fantasy Premier League, fantasy soccer, the experts suggest to play the matchup. So if you got a really high profile guy who's playing a really high profile defense, but you have a guy on your bench who is playing a lower level team, you play the guy on your bench because he's going to have maybe a better chance of scoring more points against a worse defensive team. So bringing it back to American football, Bill Krosky Merritt is playing against the Packers. And Cam, you said at this pod that maybe Micah Parsons didn't have that much effect on the run game against the Lions. even though they didn't really have a great game, but it wasn't really necessarily Micah Parsons. So am I going with rookie against potentially one of the best defenses in the league who's hot, or am I going with one of the two guys on Seattle who's who are they playing? They're playing Pittsburgh, who let the Jets run all over them last week. And then who am I even picking between those two Seattle running backs? That's where I'm at. Am I playing with the value that I know between Kenneth Walker and maybe Charbonnet, or am I playing the hot hand? That's where I'm stuck essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna
One,
go
one,
off the wall for mine.
yeah,
I'm taking a look at Trevor's team. Let me pull it up here.
I think we're about to say the same thing.
Yeah, I would start Quentin Johnson, which I know we talked about earlier. And this is maybe a unconventional thought, but I would bench AJ Brown
Oh,
in week
wow.
2.
I
I
was about to say the exact opposite of that.
I mean the Eagles. So for a couple of reasons, the Eagles' offense did not look like they want to throw the ball very much, and when they do throw the ball, they were not throwing it towards AJ Brown. I don't think that was going to be a 1 week thing. That's looked more like the plan this season with the new offensive coordinator, I believe, in Philly. That they seem to be more of a run the ball offense against Kansas City. I could see them employing that strategy again, keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, keep the score low, limit the number of possessions, especially if they get a lead at some point in the game. So I know, I have AJ Brown in another league. I believe in him. He's obviously a great receiver with a great quarterback and a great offense. But we saw Quentin Johnson look like Herbert's favorite target in week 1. And, I could see a reasonable case for benching a much higher profile wide receiver to ride the hot hand there.
I'm
Great
gonna,
example.
yeah, I'm not gonna completely refute that. I was gonna say actually don't bench AJ Brown for QJ. I'm not against starting him. I actually might bench Devontae Adams. Um, only got 8 targets. I mean, Puka went off in this game. Didn't even score a touchdown. And he was in and out of the game with some injuries. And Devontae's a little bit older, right? So is Matt Stafford, but I would sooner bench Devontae Adams, and I'm not benching Zay Flowers or Travis Etienne, who's in his flex. I believe in QJ. I think that he's the piece in that offense that really is going to allow Justin Herbert to transcend to like a top 5 quarterback this year. But I'm not phased by what happened with AJ Brown in week 1. He had a lot, like if you look at some of the stuff on Twitter, some of the advanced metrics, like he got a lot of separation, but Jalen Hurts was making one read and he was getting out of the pocket and he was running. There was a lot of spying on the defense, so like it was just a good opportunity for him to run. I think he's going to come back. He's going to bounce back. AJ Brown is going to have up and down weeks, but I think this happened a couple years ago when he was throwing fits on the sidelines in 2023, and he got 13 targets the next game. So I think he's going to bounce back. I would sooner bench Devontae Adams in that offense and start QJ than bench AJ Brown.
Yeah, Cam, I have Devontae Adams in an 8-man league, so very different. But I picked him earlier on the board, and I just didn't love it. I don't know why. Just felt like he was very overvalued in that new offense for some reason. I'm popping around different matchups, but thinking about my team is probably going to be the easiest thing to speak on. I got to kind of figure out my running back room. I had Pacheco in the flex. It looks like Genty is going to be my RB1, trying to figure out the matchups between Aaron Jones and Pacheco. But I'm going to bench Pacheco this week, and I'm going to start Keenan Allen. So Keenan Allen was hot. I think he got a touchdown, right? So he's a guy that a lot of people wrote off, but I think he's hot, and I'm going to start him over Pacheco, who I would assume would be a regular threat to get a touchdown at any given week.
Okay, here I got another one for you.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say it'll be
Jason's
interesting to
team.
see how you manage the 2 Chiefs running backs there over the course of the season. I'll be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, we'll
Go ahead,
see who's the starting running back by the end of the season is my answer to that, because I don't think either of them are that good, but
Yeah.
I got another one for all of us. It's a team that's not on the pod, so maybe we can have different takes here. But Jason's team, He's got he's starting 5 receivers at the moment, which is where we're at in 2025. A lot of receivers can throw up a lot of points, but those top 3 guys, Thomas, Moore, and Judy, didn't have fantastic games. Nothing crazy low, but just weren't as maybe hitting like their names would suggest. But then he's got the rookie Sampson, who had a great first game, and Kayshon Boutte, who had a lot of targets for the Patriots. I know what Willie's going to say; it's in his name. But would you if you're maybe not if you're Jason, but if you have these guys, are you even considering starting Sampson or Boutte and over Moore or Judy? Even Jamison Williams didn't have a great game. Again, we already talked about the Lions. Like, are you even considering that with the hot hand thing, or are you sticking with the value? Are you sticking with the high profile names?
I would not be starting Calvin Austin personally. I do agree. I'd probably start Samson or Booty, but probably Samson over Calvin Austin in that second flex. I like the rest of those guys. I expect them to bounce back. I think Cleveland's going to have to throw the ball a ton against Baltimore to stay in that game. So I think Judy will have a better week this week. And I wouldn't bench any of those other wide receivers, but Calvin Austin to me is the guy that he only got 6 targets. His week was a lot better than it otherwise would have looked because he scored a touchdown. I don't necessarily expect the Steelers to be throwing the ball quite as much in such a high scoring game as they were in week 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if Calvin Austin puts up 4 points this week.
Colin, you might be surprised. I would say give Booty a chance against the Dolphins, who look god awful. And then on the reverse, you got Jared Judy going up against Baltimore. There's got to be no other team in the NFL right now that's going to come out more pissed off and ready to kick absolute ass than the Baltimore Ravens. So I would stay away from anybody going against the Ravens, and I would probably start anybody that's going against the Miami Dolphins.
To answer your original question, I'm starting Dylan Sampson. I think this whole Quinshon Judkins debacle in the NFL has the whole league gripped, in a chokehold. Quinshon was in New York today talking to the NFL about a potential suspension. Like, I have Quinshon in another league, but I don't even think he's certainly not starting this week. I think he might be getting a couple touches here and there if he's even playing. I think he's going to practice tomorrow. But Dylan Sampson, I mean, nothing to look at from a rushing perspective, 12 for 29, but he got eight targets, 8 receptions. Joe Flacco threw the ball like 45 times last week, and a pretty low-scoring game. So I think he has a lot of receiving work out of this backfield when there's a lot of question marks about how far, who knows if Joe Flacco has the juice anymore to throw any deep shots or whatever. There's a lot of ancillary guys getting looks in Cleveland, like Harold Finn and Cedric Tillman had a great week. Dylan Sampson with 8 catches. So I'm plugging him back in. I don't think Quinshon's a threat this week, certainly over Calvin Austin. I don't have any faith in Calvin Austin as a wide receiver 2 there. So I'm plugging Dylan Sampson back in.
Let's quickly talk about waiver, and then maybe as we go into the week 2, people can give picks, and we can also talk about, are you higher or lower on certain teams coming out of week 1, sort of an over stock up, stock down, if you will, on various teams. Willie, I will turn the floor over to you. We all saw Tonjes have a pretty good week 1. It looks like Kittle's going to be out for a while. And, you're not afraid to drop a bag when you like a guy, and you did so again this week.
I didn't.
Last year.
Yeah, last year was more self-destructive because I dropped Likely before week 1, and he popped off, and I hated myself for that. But this one, I feel like my back was against the wall. I had to get, what's his name, Tongue?
I believe it's Tonjes.
Okay.
I'm going to call him Tongues.
I mean, I had to get him. I got George Kittle. What am I going to do? I got to get him. And then I also picked up Fant after the Fab money was spent, and I just got him for free. But and I think he had a touchdown last week. But I had to get the backup for Kittle with Kittle going out. So I was like, there's no way I'm not losing this bid. And I was just like, I'm spending a third of my Fab. So I was like $33.
Does it hurt that nobody else bid for him and you still spend a third, or does
No,
that not
because I
phase you?
think as the weeks go on, your Fab bucks just lose value over time. And like the waiver wires in this league is a sad place to be. Crawling through the waiver wires to find somebody is like, holy shit, desolate. Like, it's post-apocalyptic.
The number of times this week that I was like, oh, I wonder if I would be able to pick up that guy. And then I like looked and he's on somebody's bench. Like, I'm trying to remember. Oh, Cedric Tillman. I remember like reading an article and being like, oh, Cedric Tillman would be a good pickup. I bet he's available. And then I was like, fuck, he's on Troy's bench. Like, how? This is insane with the roster size we have.
If you think this league is bad, you should see our dynasty league that has like 27
roster spots,
team roster spots, and it's way worse.
And it's super flex, so there's like no quarterback.
This feels good.
Yeah.
With that comparison, this actually feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. And that's why I went for Fannin. Might as well talk about it. I went for Fannin.
That's where I was going.
He's a rookie, so he's kind of off the radar in a redraft setting like this. Tight end 2, but 9 targets. He looks like a baller. You look at his 9 receptions or 8 receptions in that game. He looks like he could be a key piece to that offense that should be passing a lot. So I didn't feel bad with 21. I initially started with 11, and I was like, look, I want to go get my guy. I kind of followed in Willie's footsteps here. I was like, I'm going to get my guy. There's no way someone's taking Fannin from me. Evan Ingram got hurt. I needed a tight end. I had no problem. I was even worried about 21 fab, but I'm glad I got him. I'm probably going to start him right away, and he might be tight end 1 for me going forward. We'll see how it plays out.
Cam, I wanted to ask you about this one. You obviously shot your shot there with 5, but came up short. What was your thinking on the $5 for Fannin? Were you expecting to get him, or how'd you come up with that number?
Yeah, I put bids in on Butte and Fannin. I think they were both $5 actually, or $2 on this one. To be honest, I liked what I saw. I wasn't expecting that type of performance out of a rookie in week 1 in that offense when there's a lot of mouths to feed and an AARP quarterback. I failed to think about the fact that 2 high-profile managers in this league had tight ends who got hurt with Kittle and Ingram. So I didn't think that there's going to be as much attention on Fannin. So definitely like what I saw. He's number 44, which is kind of interesting jersey number for a tight end. But yeah, I mean, I didn't want him that bad. I'm kind of streaming tight ends this year. And
that Dallas Clark, was he 44?
Yeah, TVC. Yeah.
And what's crazy is
go ahead.
Troy got the number 1 tight end for cheaper than what we got our tight ends for.
I was just gonna say, I think the sneaky pickup of the week was Juwan Johnson. I think, I was the other one with a bid in. I didn't expect somebody else to be bidding on it, to be honest. I only logged a $2 bid there, but with Brock Bowers being hurt, I was prepared to make a change at my backup tight end spot. I think Juwan Johnson could be a viable tight end all year. That could be a really, really good $11 spent there by Troy. I think that was a sneaky pickup.
Guys,
I swapped Geno Smith for Sam Darnold, out with the old quarterback in Seattle, or out with the new quarterback and in with the old quarterback.
For free. That's a great pick. Love Geno this year.
We talked, Willie, about your addition of Noah Fant as well. I was hoping Trey Harris may end up having a role by the end of the year, but I just wasn't willing to wait. And to your point, Willie, about having to scrape the bottom of the barrel in this league, I'm adding wide receiver 4 with a quarterback who doesn't seem like he could hit the side of a barn. So we'll see how that turns out. He's rostered in 2% of leagues, and proud to count myself in that 2%.
Yeah, but I heard his name on primetime.
There you go.
I said, there he is.
Cam, I like the Kenneth Gainwell pickup. I thought someone would bid for him. Tough that Tank Bigsby's season has become being a kick returner. So I know Colin's interested in alternative positions, but maybe he'll add Tank when he clears waivers. But I like the Kenneth Gainwell pickup as well.
Yeah, just the handcuff to Tyler Warren. I'm not sure what's happening with Caleb Johnson in that offense, but Gainwell got a lot of totes and a lot of targets too. So he was supposed to be the RB2 in that offense, and I got Jalen Warren as well.
Steelers are going to be fun to watch. Right? It seems like they're going to try to empty the clip this season and just do whatever they can to try to win. So
All right, I know we've run a bit long, so we'll go quick through this. We don't need to talk through every player necessarily, but let's each give a pick on each matchup, and if you want to talk about whether you're higher or lower on a particular team, feel free to weigh in. But we don't need to weigh in on everybody necessarily. I'll start since this is my matchup. I believe in myself. Johnny's got some injuries this week. I do too, but I think I addressed mine a little better with the additions that I made between week 1 and week 2. I think our guys will be fine. So I'm going to pick myself to get a win.
Yeah, I'm picking you, Nick. Like you said, the injuries. I think Johnny's team is going to be up and down, whereas you're going to be a little more steady. So steady, and you guys both went 1-1 last week. So I think your steadiness will translate to a win this week, where Johnny's, maybe up and down will translate to the loss on this side.
I'm going to go with Nick too. Colin, you mentioned that Johnny's going to be up and down. I think he's going to be a lot more down than up this year. My outlook on his team has gone down substantially. So stock down currently on Johnny Fins, and Nick gets it up this week.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Just because you guys all pick Nick. Sorry, Nick. I'm going to fade. I'll go Johnny, Jaden Daniels. I think that Green Bay Washington game is going to be like 35, 40 points each way. Daniels is going to pop off. It's going to be explosive, and you'll lose because of that, because I don't think Geno Smith is going to do much.
We'll see. Thursday night, it could be a sleepy one. So who knows? Week 2 coming off a short week.
Not with those teams.
Willie, I'll let you lead off here. You're currently the underdog, but I think part of that could also be because Tonjus's numbers have not updated. I don't think.
Yeah. No. Believe it or not, I'm not overconfident. I wasn't overconfident against you week 1. I'm certainly never overconfident against Josh. I hope my guys show up and ball, but he's got a good team. I always look like position versus position down the line. He's got another quarterback that can explode. Same with his running backs, same with his receivers. I think his receivers are better than mine. I think my tight end is better than his. And I have the best kicker in the league. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Fuck it. I'll pick myself.
I'm going to go stock up on your team, Willie. I think we talked about how we didn't give you enough credit coming out of the draft. It's always obviously a risk to like load up on a team, but if there's an offense to load up on, it's probably the Bills. I got to witness it firsthand. I had the lead, and for most of Sunday was like in a good projection spot, and then just watched Josh Allen do his thing and hand you a victory. So stock up on your team. But that being said, not so fast, my friend. I'm going to say Josh wins this matchup this week.
Fair. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love.
Yeah, I was on the fence. I go down the line as well, like pair. I was definitely on the fence. But because you didn't show a lot of confidence in this matchup, Willie, I'm going with Josh. Like I can't give you the confidence if you don't got confidence in yourself. I also am looking at the defensive matchups. Those both defenses could show up with negative this week. So it'll be interesting to see those defenses and what they do.
We've just quickly forgotten that this was the championship game this past January.
And we have championship Super Bowl matchup too.
That's right.
Holy
So
shit.
I don't know. I think Josh's team walks in here and has all the media kind of buzzing about him. But I actually think that Willie pulls off this game. I think this looks like an upset right now. I think this is another playoff matchup in 12, 13 weeks from now. But I think Willie pulls off the upset.
Appreciate you, fam.
Next, we have Jason against Troy. Who wants to lead this one off? Currently, Jason is a slight favorite over Troy, but this is the number 3 against the number 12 team at the moment in the standings.
Dude, Troy's team kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. Almost as bad as Collins.
Well, it's worse than mine because I scored 5 more points than him. Look, Jason comes out strong every year. I think he'll continue with that. He's got King Henry. He doesn't look like he's slowing down. And Jason's got that juju where he's going to start someone that none of us would have agreed with necessarily as we went through it. So, sorry, Troy. I think Jason's got this one on you. So, sorry.
I think it's going to be Jason also. I'm looking at the schedule too. Like this is I mean, if Troy loses to the median and to Jason this week, it's kind of tough sledding from here. I'm getting a little nervous. Not going to hit the panic button at all, but depending on what happens this week, I'm kind of neutral on Troy, but 2 losses and I might be stocked down on Troy. But I think Jason wins.
I'm already stocked down on Troy. I think we talked about it with the rookies and that being a high risk, high reward strategy. However, I don't think that Caleb Williams is going to have a very good game at Detroit. I think to your point, Willie, about teams that are going to be pissed off this week, I think Detroit's going to be another one of those teams. And I don't know that the Bears are going to look better in week 2 than they did in week 1. I think the second half of that game is who they are as a team. They looked terrible after the first drive once they got through their first 10 scripted plays. So I don't think Caleb Williams has a very good game, and it's hard to win in fantasy when your quarterback doesn't perform. So I think Bo Nix has a rebound game. Caleb Williams looks worse, and that's enough to give Troy the difference here, even though I'm not high on his team season long. Next, we have Alex against Trevor. Alex is a slight favorite against the AI at the moment. Surprising that the AI would not back itself, but maybe it has him right where he wants him, thinking that it's the underdog this week. What do you guys think on this one?
This one's a tough one. I'll back I'll back Alex. Like I love AI. I've been using it a lot lately. It's a nice little tool. I don't even use all of its capabilities, but Alex showed up with the karaoke. He's got a little bit of momentum going into the year. He already won week 1 against me. So respect to title chasing. Sick name too. That's an awesome name. I'm going Alex for the fact that he's got a lot of league morale on his side.
I'm going Trevor here. I love Trevor's team top to bottom. You swap out QJ with Devontae Adams, stamp of approval. You got to win in my book. Trevor wins.
I think I'm leaning Alex here. Just in terms of his depth, I like his guys better a little bit down the whole roster.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is the highest scoring game this week. Alex's back half of his lineup from Roma Dunze all the way through his defense all has green next to their matchup. That's always a good sign when you're going to hopefully get some good performances from the down the line guys. Plus, Alex and I are going to be playing golf next weekend together, live and in person. So I got to go with my guy that I'm going to be seeing soon. So give me Alex for a dub this week.
Awesome.
Next we have Rob against Eric, one of the matchups with nobody on the Zoom chat this week. I'll go first here. I like Eric's team. This is a matchup of 2 0-2 teams. But in terms of stock up, stock down, I think I'm more stock down on Rob's team. We talked about it with the Pearsall situation. I think Pearsall could have been the guy that either was a big trade piece to give Rob a couple extra pieces later in the season, or was just the bell cow that nobody saw coming this year. But with the injuries in the Niners offense, I don't know that that's going to come to fruition. So even though I think Lamar and Saquon will probably keep him in this and keep him in it over the course of the season, I'm kind of stocked down on the rest of the team. I do have a little bit more faith in Eric's team, and I think he gets a win this week.
Yeah, both teams are emptying the clip, as Willie says. They got nothing on the bench to play. Like none of those guys on either of those benches will be starting games for anybody in this entire league. Rob may have the higher ceiling, but Eric's got the higher floor. So Rob will be joining Troy at 0-4.
Oh, damn. I'm going to go Eric here. I think if you look at the top 4 people on Eric's side, Burrow, Gibbs, Kyron, and Ladd, Kyron had a passable, serviceable day. Ladd didn't play super well. Gibbs didn't play well. Burr doesn't play well. Once all three of those guys get clicking, I think Eric's team goes from mid to scary. So I'm gonna go Eric here.
I'm gonna bet on Rob and the high ceiling. With like I said, I think Lamar is gonna go crazy. Barkley, I think that's gonna be a great game. And then a guy who I think is gonna continue to score more points consistently is Thielen back in Minnesota and just being a great veteran option for JJ McCarthy. I think he underperformed in his first game. He's gonna get more looks.
There you go.
Not
That's
just
what I
because he
want to hear.
looks
I want
like
to hear
him.
you backing yourself, Willie.
Yeah, dude. That's twin.
And last but not least, we have a matchup of two of our recurring hosts, Cam versus Colin. Colin, why don't you lead us off? What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, we all know that I back myself through and through every single week. I don't care if I'm playing the All-Star fantasy team from the previous year or whatever it may be. Um, it's tough. It's not an easy pick. I mean, I will back myself, obviously, but I'm in a conundrum as far as starting and sitting. So I have a lot of thinking to do over the next few days. But I'm going to win. I'm not going to say anything other than that. You'll never catch me saying, "Oh, I'm going to lose this game." Never.
I'm gonna pick me. I have a little bit of a concern about is if Justin Fields and the Jets somehow get into a shootout with the Bills, does he have the arm strength and the capacity to throw the ball to stay in that game? So that's if Justin Fields balls out against the Bills, then I might eat my words, but I think that he's going to be the X factor for you, and I take myself.
You're not gonna have to worry about that. That's not gonna happen. Justin Fields is gonna be dismal against the Bills, and your team's way better than Collins. And Collins is gonna be 0-4. Um, I think you've got some serious talent. My only thing, Cam, is I just think Malik Neighbors was valued way too high,
Yeah,
and I don't think he's a first round pick at all.
Well, he didn't get him in the first round, but yeah,
But he was generally like a top,
yeah.
10.
and that's just because our league's so savvy. We know that stuff, but
Right. I
I don't
passed
even
on
think
him for
he's.
fucking London.
Yeah, I would. I passed on him all day, and I'm a Giants fan.
I'm going to take Cam's team, and I'm stock up on Cam's team, but that's not so much because I think Cam's team is championship worthy necessarily, although I did say in the pre-draft podcast that I had him as like a sneaky championship contender, but more so I think I underrated Cam's team coming out of week one. And I think we talked about Jalen Hurts being the guy that got away from me. And with the way the offense looks, I think he's going to be running a ton, and that's going to increase his fantasy value. So I think Jalen really elevates that offense even more than he normally would. I'm curious to see whether Montgomery has a role in your lineup at the end of the season. I could see that being a guy who like ends up just kind of hanging out on the bench. And we'll see if Olave can stay healthy. That's I feel like a big question mark for you too. But overall, I do like your roster more than I did. I'm going to take Cam in this one as well. Colin, I fear it could be a long season, as Willie said. We'll see. I mean, I hope you're able to turn it around here. But if you fall to 0-4, just like we were talking about with Troy's team, that is a hole to climb out of.
Look, I've been there before, and I ended 2-22. So we live and we learn. But it's not just my running backs that I'm trying to figure out. I'm not set on Justin Fields as my quarterback, like you said, Willie. Drake May is playing against Miami in Miami at Sunday at 1 o'clock, so it could be hot, but that might just be Drake May's coming out party. Um, so I have a lot of thinking to do, as far as starting and sitting.
Are you going to
So
that game, bro?
I will not be at that game. I will be on my couch watching Manchester United versus Manchester City.
Oh, I didn't know that was on. Yo, Jalen Hurts looked like 0-4 Mike Vick on last Thursday. I mean, he looked damn good.
He looked
running the
like a
ball.
dog. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
No, I'm talking before the dogs.
Oh,
He's not good. He looks dangerous. That offense looks dangerous.
I agree. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
My final thought is I have no problem going over the hour. This is good content. I know the boys are gonna love this. Thank you, Willie, for coming on, and thank you, viewers. Y'all are why we do this every day, why we show up. And this is a great start to a great season. I feel it, whether I'm 2-22 at the end of it or not. I love this season already.
Couldn't say it
Yeah.
better.
Thank you, guys. I just want to say I hope the people got what they wanted. I know I did. It took a little later. I was expecting it first thing first, but waited 30 minutes. Colin, thank you for saying what you said. And I love you guys, and this is going to be a fun season.
Yes, sir.
Go.